everyone. Welcome to the 212th session of the online Optom Learning Series, OOLS. And for today's session, we have with us Dr. Pam Theriot. Dr. Pam is working as a dry eye specialist in LA, and she has completed her undergraduate degree as well as a doctorate in optometry, which she earned from the University of California at Berkeley School of Optometry. And then she continued with a residency at the State University of New York College of Optometry. She also earned her fellowship from the American Academy of Optometry as well. She has published a book entitled Elevate Dry Eye, which is an informal guide for patients to get relief from dry eyes. And very recently, she has also been a part of the Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society, TFOS. She was appointed as the Public Awareness Committee member in 2021, and she has been contributing to the committee in terms of research in dry eye and putting up all that white papers, which we kind of look forward to read. And she's going to share with us the latest one, which is on the lifestyle, and she's going to take us through the insights from the lifestyle report. So welcome, Dr. Pam, onto our platform, and let me just leave the screen time to you, please.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here. Wonderful. Well, thank you for that beautiful introduction that kind of tells you a little bit about my background, but I think more importantly for everyone to know is that I am a dry eye sufferer myself. And that is why I am so passionate about sharing this information with you and giving you the tools that you need to help your own patients. Because dry eye disease can be very significantly affect our patients' lifestyles. They end up, becoming depressed and not wanting to leave the house, not doing the things that they love. They're embarrassed about the way they look, the way they appear to their friends and family. And I know that's one of the driving factors for me when I started researching dry eye on my own, was that I was just embarrassed to be in front of my patients with my red eyes and clawing at my contact lenses by the end of the day, my makeup streaming down my face. And so that's really where my journey started. And that's why I want to share with you these three specific lifestyle components from the workshop that the Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society did. This was just released. You can find this publication, all of the 8 subcommittees that made up the TFOS Lifestyle Workshop. You can read about all of them, but I just pulled out 3 to talk about today because these are the ones that truly disrupted my lifestyle the most. So let's go to the next slide because I have a little treat for you guys. Here we go. I put together a short handout so that you could have a few tools to use for your own patients. So if you go to my website, which is down here at the bottom of the screen, www.pamtheriot.com, and you spell my last name like the riot, if that makes it simpler to understand, pamtheriot.com/OOLS. That'll bring you to a screen where you can download the document that has some handouts for the things we're going over today. There's a few about makeup and then a bunch about computers. So let's go to the next slide and we will dive in to the Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society. Oh, sorry. These are my financial disclosures in case anyone is interested in knowing who I speak for. But this is completely unbranded content from the Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society. I won't be promoting any brands or medications. So the first topic we're going to dive into is the cosmetics and how cosmetics or the makeup that you wear around your eyes affects your tear film and then ocular surface disease. These are the beautiful people who put together the report. So Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society took over between 100 and 200, I think around 150 doctors, researchers, scientists from around the globe, and they came together to look at what research has already been done in this field and compile it into a concise report where they give us diagrams and talking points and key information that we can come back and share with our own patients. So those were the doctors that were on the cosmetics report. Let's go to the next slide and we'll talk about what we're going to dive into with cosmetics. So we'll just briefly review like the history of cosmetics, what cosmetics are, what ingredients are we looking for to avoid in these cosmetics so that they can be the safest on our eyes, and some cosmetic regulations. I know you all are from incredibly different countries represented here today, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on what's going on in the US, but the ingredients that are in these makeups, whether they're banned in your country, some of them are very prevalent in other things like eye drops. So we'll talk about that as well. So this report explains the use of eye cosmetic products and how they affect our eyes, whether it is inside the eye or around the eye, how these are going to affect our patients' perception of how they feel and how they look to other people. In addition, at the end of the report, it systematically reviewed the research that was already out there, just looking at eyelash growth serum products. We all know that those products contain prostaglandin analogs, and we know and love prostaglandin analogs because they lower our eye pressure. But when word got out that it made your lashes longer, darker, and more beautiful, people started using those medications in over-the-counter products. And of course, they have side effects. So cosmetics are thought of in different ways across the globe. But today we're going to be talking about them just in regard to the eyes. So we'll talk about mascara and eyeshadow and eyeliner, concealers, brushes, applicators, and all of these can affect our eye health, whether they're directly affecting the lacrimal gland. The meibomian glands are just so delicate and can get clogged from eyeliners and tight lining the eyes, blocking the oil glands so that we have less of this oil in our tear film, leading to dry eye disease. So today, makeup is a variety of products. We can even talk about serums and creams and wrinkle removers, and they all may have ingredients that are harmful to our eye. In addition, there's also procedures that patients are going through, and they're probably not asking your permission or your advice before they go to have Botox, filler, platelet-rich plasma injections, tattooing, dyeing the lashes, eyelash curling, skin resurfacing and tightening. And all of these, even just changing the way the lids come into contact with our eyes, it's going to affect our blink and how that affects our tear film spreading across the front surface of our eye and protecting us. Now, as eye doctors, we all know how important our eyelids are as our number one protection from our eyes to the outside world. But our patients don't think of their eyelids like that. They think of them as some part of their body that they can use to beautify their appearance, and they don't realize that extending the length of their lashes is actually causing more airflow onto the front surface of their eye and drying it out. So we understand these things, and we need to be proactive at educating our patients, because if they tighten the skin or remove some skin from the upper lid and their eyelids no longer close all the way, we have nocturnal lagophthalmos or just poor blinking, and that is going to affect them all day long, every single day for the rest of their lives. They don't understand these risks. So in the 21st century, of course, cosmetics are just growing and growing, and we think we will get to $23 billion by, I think it is 2028, right? So just an incredible amount of growth and money that is spent globally in cosmetics. The other problem with cosmetics is, think about this, and I want you to think about in your own culture, at what age do girls or people start wearing eye makeup? Right? In my own daughters, in my own home, my daughters started playing with makeup as early as 4 or 5. Now, of course, they didn't put it on every day, but started experimenting with, started looking at themselves with makeup on. And then once women start wearing makeup on a daily basis, it's all day, every day, 7 days a week. mostly 365 days a year. I live in the South here in the US, and I don't know if you guys know, stereotypically, women in the South don't go to the grocery store without their full face put on. They can't be seen without their makeup. So, everyone has their cultural norms, and they don't realize that these products on their faces are causing problems. Of course, reusing products that we're dipping into our containers, not cleaning the applicators, reapplying over and over and not disposing of these products properly is causing contamination, putting that at higher risk for bacterial, fungal, and viral infections. Not to mention if you're sharing those within your home or within your friend group. Oh, so-and-so got a new eyeliner, and all of the friends start putting the eyeliner on, sharing their bacteria that are normal to have on their lids and lashes to their friends' lids and lashes. So when we talk about makeup products, as I said, we're talking about mascaras, eyeliners, growth serums, and also the brushes, the applicators. So glitter, bleaching creams, these things that we as eye doctors kind of cringe every time I see glitter in the tear film. I know about those micro abrasions that are happening across the front surface of the eye. But again, our patients aren't thinking about that. And now let's dive into a little bit more about cosmetic ingredients. Well, there's so many ingredients in the cosmetics because the companies that make cosmetics want them to be beautiful. They want the cosmetics to go on smoothly. They want them not to sting and burn. So there's pH adjusters, there's preservatives to protect the makeup for longer periods of time, make them smooth across the skin, condition the skin. And also there will be antimicrobials in these cosmetics. But do they harm the skin? Do they get into the bloodstream and cause problems? Because the skin of the lids is the thinnest in the body. So it can directly absorb into the bloodstream more quickly than putting it on the skin of the arm or leg. So these that are crossing into the bloodstream can act not only as allergens directly to the eyes, but as carcinogens, endocrine disruptors, immunosuppressants, irritants, toxins. There's multiple adverse reactions to even just one product. I don't know if you've ever taken one of your makeup products and looked at the ingredient list, but it's usually rather long. There's multiple ingredients in there, and every single ingredient could have an adverse reaction in the eye. And so here are a few of the more common ones that we find in our eye makeup. And all of you will recognize these. Number one, benzalkonium chloride, BAK. Where do we find BAK? Oh, in almost every single one of the medications that we prescribe to put on the eyes, right? So BAK is used as a preservative in the medications we use to treat our patients, but we all also know that it has a toxic effect on the corneal epithelial cells, and it can really break down that barrier and cause problems when people are using those medications over long periods of time, or they're using products that are containing BAK on their face all day, every day, reapplying makeup multiple times a day, using makeup day after day after day. All right, some others that you may recognize are these formaldehyde releasing compounds. They are used as preservatives often in our makeups. Parabens, phenoxyethanol, and phthalates. Probably you may have packaging that is telling people, consumers, that, oh, my eye makeup is paraben free, it's phthalate free. And that may be true, but what else are they using in those cosmetics to now give as a preservative? So they may be swapping out some of these buzzwords that more consumers know that they should be steering clear of parabens and using a makeup that contains something different that is equally toxic. So if you go to the TFOS report, there is a list of at least 50 different ingredients that we should be avoiding in our makeup. Again, retinoids. Patients are using these retinoids around the eyes to smooth the skin, to get rid of crow's feet, to clear their acne, and they have direct consequences to our meibomian glands. They are shriveling up the meibomian glands because they're trying to control oils. These medication or these ingredients have profound effects on the structure of the eye and the barriers that our eyes have to protect us and create a smooth tear film. So here we can see benzalkonium chloride in particular, because we are all so familiar with this component. It is pervasive in U.S. drugs that have been approved by our Food and Drug Administration as safe for the public, yet we all know that prolonged use of these components in the BAK can break down the epithelium. But did we realize that there's also other problems that BAK containing eye drops could cause? Breathing issues, memory loss, cardiovascular issues, just the list goes on. And the studies were shown that in concentrations of BAK that are 20,000-fold lower than approved levels that are in eye makeup can be toxic to human corneal, conjunctival, and meibomian gland epithelial cells in vitro. These studies were done in a petri dish, so taking that into account. But if we put BAK directly onto those cells, that they are killing those epithelial cells quite rapidly. So what does that do over time? It can affect tear film stability, goblet cell loss, and of course it can affect the epithelial cells, and you have less and less oil in your tear film. And formaldehyde releasing compounds, I guess, is something that would be commonly used as a preservative. Again, 2,000 times lower concentrations are found to affect the conjunctival, meibomian, and corneal cells in vitro. So we all know that formaldehyde is toxic. We wouldn't want to breathe it in. But when we're applying it directly to our ocular surface, it just compounds that effect. Parabens, again, this one has come to the forefront of cosmetics, and many cosmetic companies are advertising that they're paraben free. And so you might see that branding on products. But this endocrine disruptors, hormone disruptors, reproductive dysfunction that these parabens can cause, especially when we're using these products daily. Parabens are used as preservative, and they've been found in over 22,000 cosmetic products, but are known allergens and endocrine disruptors. So phthalates are used pretty regularly in makeup removers and fragrances. They're also found in the packaging, in the plastic used to package these cells, but studies again have shown that they will affect growth and viability of corneal endothelial cells. Not only are we talking about cosmetic products, but also the procedures, as I was saying earlier, that your patients are undergoing without asking your advice, without asking your permission. If you're not offering these services in your office, then you're probably not explaining to patients what the adverse effects of these are. Botox, filler, platelet-rich plasma injections, plasma pen, microneedling, microdermabrasion, radio frequency skin tightening, right? Lasers and light therapy, intense pulse light. So some of these have wonderful effects for the eye health, the meibomian glands. We're using radio frequency to tighten the skin around the eyelids and give our patients better blinks as their lids loosen due to age. We're using intense pulse light to decrease inflammation that's coming to the eyes from ocular rosacea. But some of these, if used improperly, can really have a profound effect on the ocular surface. And then, of course, eyelashes. I hope that in your own country, patients aren't as crazy about eyelashes as they are here in the United States. But our patients will go to great lengths to lengthen their lashes, right? They are using adhesives to tape on a strip or individually glue lashes to their own lashes. They're curling them with permanent hair curling solutions. They're dyeing and tinting them with hair dyes. So many of these components of these dyes and perms have formaldehyde, alcohol to permeate those follicles and let the dye sink in, or the permanent solution sink in. And those should never, ever, ever be so close to the eyes. Then the glue in particular is just staying on the eye for months and months, and patients are going back and having these reapplied and reapplied, just putting more and more toxins to the front surface of their eye. Meanwhile, they don't know the risks. They don't know how to properly clean their new lashes. They don't know that bacteria is going to accumulate in those little glue balls that are now attached to the hair follicles, and that they're going to have an increase in blepharitis, or that they may have an allergic reaction to the glue, not while they're in the salon, but 2-3 days later, they can have an allergic reaction to that glue used. So lash extensions. The most common is that I see in my clinic are allergic reactions. So recently I had a patient, and she was darling, adorable, came in and was telling me how she wanted to go to her nephew's wedding. So she had gone to the salon with her sister, who lived in another state. She'd flown to go to the wedding, and all of the aunties had gone into the salon and had their eyelashes done. And thankfully, for her sake, she got through the wedding. She had her pictures done and everything was beautiful. And then she returned home, woke up the next day, and her eyelids were swollen shut. Right? Have you guys seen this in your own clinics? I'm sure at some point you have. So here she comes in as an emergency patient, never seen her before, and she can barely open her, pulling lashes from her eyes. And we ended up using erythromycin ointment. If you have any kind of bland ointment, it doesn't even need to be prescription, but some kind of ointment that you can rub onto the glue, you can actually loosen the bond there, and then just pull those lashes off more readily. I think you may add more insult to the patient if you start plucking their own lashes when trying to remove the glues, but it is quite a process. It can take a long time to use tweezers to pull them off, to use cotton balls to rub the ointment on, break down those bonds, and really get all of that irritant off their eye. Then we need to treat the patient with antihistamines, steroids. Usually I use topical, but sometimes it's nice to also use an oral antihistamine. The patient could take an over-the-counter antihistamine to help them calm that allergic reaction. And then just time. They're going to have to do some cool compresses and steroid eye drops and maybe some steroid, all that inflammation before they're going to get back to normal and be able to go back to work. So I'm sure you've all had that patient come into your office with a side effect from these eyelash extensions. And I wish it was more publicized, because so many patients just don't know the risks that they're putting themselves into. There we go. Now, Botox. So it has a very good safety record, but complications can come upon when the Botox is put too close to the eye. You may have a ptosis that would last for months. The good thing about Botox is that eventually it does wear off, but patients can be stuck with these cosmetic side effects, as well as side effects that are affecting their meibomian glands, their lid structure, how they're blinking, how their tear film is coming across the front surface of their eyes. And then filler. So globally, over 8 million filler injections every year. High hyaluronic acid-based fillers are really the most popular, and thankfully, they also have a very safe profile. Patients are using the smooth wrinkles and lines and puff up their cheeks and make them look more beautiful. But adverse events like bruising, edema, nodules, infection can come up. And then there can be also delayed reactions where they have hypersensitivity and chronic infections weeks and weeks down the road from these injections. Now, hopefully their doctors that are performing these are really giving them the pros and cons of the procedures. So in conclusion, this report, hundreds of pages, really dials down to knowing that cosmetics are here, they're here to stay. We can't fight our patients and tell them that they can't wear them because they just won't return to our office. But we can partner with them, let them know that there are lists of toxic ingredients and that they can use to look through their makeup that they're already using. There are websites that they can go to. Let me just give you one. It's called EWG.org, Environmental Working Group. If someone could pop that into the chat, that's a fabulous resource. ewg.org. You can go there. They have a Skin Deep database where you could plug in the name of your favorite mascara, and it may be in their database, and then that database will score the mascara and let you know if it's good, if you need to use caution, or if it just contains toxic ingredients. And so that's a fun way for your patients to go through and look at their makeup products. You can also go there and look at a particular ingredient and find out if it's toxic or if it's okay to use, especially if you're looking into some of these safer brands and you want to know, well, is this okay? So I love that as a resource to share with my patients. So these are the recommendations, are to provide your patients with information about cosmetics function, toxicity, indications, and contraindications. Also, all makeups have an expiration date. In the US, there's a little code, and in Europe as well, there's a code. It looks like an open container, and inside the little symbol, there'll be 6M, which would mean 6 months. So once you open the container of product, you want to throw that away because the preservative will not remain after 6 months. So sharing with your patients that you should throw out your mascara every 3 months because you're continually using it and contaminating the mascara wand. You should also look into doing more research that in this field and giving guidelines to eye cosmetic products and in the industry in general so that they can produce better products. We also need to develop a standardization of universally accepted definitions of natural or clean as they relate to cosmetics. So the TFOS committee has come up with these recommendations that we're now going to go forward and push into the world. This is a global initiative, so not only in the countries that were represented by the people that were on the committees, but across the world, we're going to be trying to educate more. And I hope that you will partner with us and go back to your own clinics and educate your own patients and let them know about these risks. So this section, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about digital environments. I'm sure it is true in your country as well as in the US that we are all spending more time in front of these devices, where it is so wonderful that we can share knowledge across the globe, but also that these devices have effects on our eyes. And so please do download the handout that I created for you at pamtheriot.com/OOLS. I am so pleased to share this with you so that you can use these resources for your own patients. Go ahead and grab your handout. So again, I was not on this committee. Yes, these are the names of the brilliant researchers and clinicians that were. A lot of this research, as we can see, was done in Europe, European countries, and in Australia. We've got Ireland, Poland. So a lot of brilliant minds came together to put this together. And so the goals of the report really were to clarify the terminology related to the ocular effects of the digital environment. Next one. Because we talk about computer vision syndrome and eye strain and digital device use, and there isn't a real cohesive definition. We wanted to characterize the differences of why a digital screen is so different than real-world viewing. Let's go to the next one, and to assess the prevalence of digital environment related effects on the eyes. So not everyone who's working behind the computer is developing digital eye strain or dry eye disease, but what are the statistics? And then we should also explore what are the mechanisms that are causing this, and what do we propose as a treatment or a management process to help our patients who really have to spend time in front of digital devices because of career choices. So a digital environment is any technology requiring viewing of a digital display. And digital eye strain came out to be the preferred terminology, which is the development or exacerbation of recurrent ocular symptoms and signs specifically related to digital device viewing. So this was preferred over computer vision syndrome or digital eye strain or digital device use. And here are the problems. That there's so many different types of digital device use. If you could click the button again, we'll see that, screens are small. They have different refreshes on the screen, like how often the screen is being refreshed, the backlighting, the light emission, the screen size, how close we hold these devices, whether it's handheld or a monitor that's a little bit further away. And here's a slide that just shows really the size and the resolution of these different digital devices. And of course, we need to take into account that viewing distance. So based on symptomology, we're looking at the frequency and the severity of the symptoms, right? And that's how we are diagnosing digital eye strain. Go ahead and scroll down. But we're not knowing that there isn't a real standardized way to diagnose and then scale how mild, moderate, or severe digital eye strain. There are a couple of questionnaires out there, the Computer Vision Syndrome Questionnaire and the Computer Vision Symptom Scale, but no gold standard or there isn't a way that everyone is using them across the board. No standard of care that we have established yet. So there's not a robust algorithm used to diagnose digital eye strain. And so patients are diagnosed with a range of things that they're probably just lumping into digital eye strain, whereas it could realistically be a refractive error, a binocular vision anomaly, or dry eye disease. And so repetitive use of these digital devices exacerbates and gives recurrent ocular symptoms. And so these tasks, as we all know, are hours and hours a day, day after day after day. And we don't really have a good way to treat these patients that has been scientifically studied and universally accepted. So here we're kind of breaking down the problems that could come from digital device use. Light sensitivity is a symptom. Extraocular muscles not converging properly, giving visual symptoms of headache, brow ache, tension. There's blinking abnormalities that are causing problems on the ocular surface. Let's go to the next slide. Not even to mention that patients are wearing contact lenses while they're wearing this. They're spending long hours hunched over the computer, giving them symptoms in their neck and their back, shoulders, hands. And then they're having tired eyes, fatigue, sleepiness, redness, and foreign body sensations. So the study wanted to look at the impact of the ocular symptoms, the visual symptoms, and then the muscular skeletal symptoms, so that the neck, shoulders, and back. I wanted to see how this was going to affect their quality of life. And then, of course, we all understand how COVID-19 has pushed us to using more digital devices. And they wanted to look at what are the management procedures that we are already using in clinic, some of which we truly have been prescribing to our patients because we thought that they were beneficial to our patients. And once the TFOS committee went through the studies that have been done on each of these management strategies, they were able to call out which ones were actually effective and which ones are completely ineffective. And I hate to bust some myths here for our patients or for you as a clinician on this webinar, but blue light blocking glasses was shown to be ineffective, which I feel it has been very prevalent in the news, social media. Using blue light blocking glasses is just a popular culture. Oh, it'll reduce your eye strain. But the studies did not show that. It did not pan out. Along with other ineffective treatments where antioxidant supplements were found not to be effective. But omega-3 fatty acid supplements were found to be effective in reducing digital eye strain, as well as taking a blink break, getting your patients to do some blinking exercises, or just having a regular break from their screen, using e-paper so that the screen is not backlit. It's more like a natural book, looking at the digital device as a book versus something that's backlit, using a humidifier at your digital workstation, using a warm compress, and then a probiotic supplement were also probably effective. But the only treatment management that was shown particularly effective was the omega-3 fatty acid supplements. Okay, those are the ones that you should take back to your clinics and share with your patients. Alrighty, now we're going through the contact lenses. Again, if you haven't already downloaded the handout, I had a ton of resources there for you about digital devices. You can find that at pamtheriot.com/OOLS. The subcommittee for the contact lenses had 17 authors. You can see them here. They came from 8 different countries, and they delved into 668 different papers to put this consensus report together. So these researchers really were going out and looking at what is already known and trying to consolidate that into a cohesive report. This report wanted to look at 2 specific areas and look at the evidence on the contact lens choices and impact to the ocular surface that the clinician is making when they're fitting a contact lens. And secondly, the lifestyle choices that the patient is making while they're using their contact lenses. What are those adverse consequences and what kind of failure could come from their lifestyle choices? So when we look at us as the clinicians choosing these contact lenses, where can we choose the best? And the study found that a daily disposable contact lens demonstrated the greatest level of convenience. Patients were more compliant with it, and they had the lowest complication rates. And I'm super thrilled that in many countries outside of the US, daily disposables are the norm. So I hope that in your country, you're using a ton of daily disposable contact lenses to keep your patients' lenses clean and reduce the risk for microbial keratitis. That's what the MK, unsafe practices that can lead to microbial keratitis. So most daily disposable contact lens wearers are not sleeping in their contact lenses. They're not having to clean those lenses, so they're not topping off the solutions and not properly disinfecting. A lot of patients also are cleaning their lenses infrequently when they're using a lens that they use day after day. They're not cleaning the lenses properly. They're not replacing the cases that they're storing in them properly. And they're getting exposure to tap water while they're showering, or maybe they're taking their contact lenses to the pool or the beach and getting water in them when they're swimming. So these are the choices that the patient could be making that affect their performance. Again, their own bodies as they're aging, there's factors, their environments that they live in, whether there's a ton of pollution or low humidity, their occupation, how they're wearing them for sports. So there's a ton of lifestyle factors, and we'll dive into those. Let's go to the next slide. So number 1, supply chain. I don't know how prevalent this is in your country, but in the US, patients can buy their contact lenses directly from their doctor's office. And then we know where we're getting these contact lenses from, directly from the manufacturer. They're not coming from somewhere where the sterility should be questioned. But when patients purchase them online or purchase them in markets that are not directly under the supervision of a doctor, then they may be getting expired contact lenses that were made improperly or may have been recalled, but no one was watching that supply to know that, oh, that box got recalled and I didn't send it back. So using contact lenses or encouraging your patients to purchase contact lenses from known sources is the best method. So of course, as we're aging, we have aspects of our eyes that could relate to reduced comfort in our contact lens wear, especially as women. As we age, our eyes might become more dry, then our contact lenses will become less comfortable. We don't understand all of the medical indications taking, let's say, an oral antihistamine for your allergies, and now all of a sudden your contact lenses are dry. This can also happen from birth control or hormone replacement medications that can change the composition of the tear film and make contact lens wear less comfortable. So we also saw a lot of wearing masks during the pandemic, and that air going directly into the eye and making contact lenses less comfortable. But particularly understudied is, what if a patient has an upper respiratory infection? Is it safe to wear contact lenses? And although this was not well studied, there was evidence related to microbial keratitis risk in patients. And so the recommendation is that if patients are not well, they should not wear their contact lenses. Again, in the report, there's beautiful tables that we can refer to that look at the management strategies that we can use for contact lenses. Environmental factors like pollution, humidity, state will decrease the stability of the tear film and make contact lens wear less comfortable. Of course, more studies are needed to show the different materials that might be more beneficial in these different environments, but definitely pollution, wind, dust, and fumes may affect our wear. What about wearing them for specific occupations, sports, and recreations? That's exactly why patients tend to want to wear contact lenses, is because they're doing something that would fog their glasses. Their glasses would fall off. But, wearing contact lenses at high altitude can cause a decrease in the humidity of the surrounding air and make that more difficult to keep the contact lenses comfortable. Wearing around swimming pools or water in general can increase the prevalence of getting bacteria, viruses, fungus into the contact lenses and causing keratitis down the way. All right. And what about non-compliant and risky behaviors? This is another shocking slide, and that it was found that children are actually the most compliant wearers. So starting a child under the age of 18 in contact lenses, they tended to be the most compliant, maybe because mom and dad are hovering over them and making sure that they're putting their contact lenses in properly, or that they were trained properly at their eye doctor's office of the proper handling, wear, and care techniques. And so they're following through when they get home. It's actually the riskiest population ended to be those young adults from 18 to 35 that maybe had the riskiest contact lens wear habits. But one study showed that 99% of wearers reported at least one risky contact lens hygiene behavior, whether that was smoking with their contact lenses, sharing with them, sleeping in them, not disposing of them properly, or not cleaning them properly. And then, of course, there is a huge potential for future uses of contact lenses in monitoring different biomarkers, whether it's insulin, intraocular pressure. Then we're also looking at contact lenses medicating the eye for allergies, for inflammation, infection, soaking these lenses in medications that then can be put on the eye for long periods of time. And they may have significant effects on our patients' lifestyle in beneficial ways. What about the impact of stress, depression, and physical inactivity? Well, we found that contact lenses can enhance a patient's lifestyle, because they will be able to see more clearly while they're out being active, getting into communities, doing sports and recreation outdoors. So it actually can decrease stress and depression. And then quality of life. Again, contact lenses provide our patients sometimes with better vision, even using scleral lenses for keratoconus patients, using contact lenses for high hyperopia and high myopia. This is really giving patients a better quality of life. And so we love fitting these in our patients and letting them get out there and do the things that they want to do. We just need to let them know that there are risks. And what about the impact of contact lens wear on the environment? So we're talking about daily disposable contact lenses being the most beneficial for our patients, yet that does have the side effect of more plastics and more disposables. So letting our patients know how to properly discard these lenses and their packaging is important, as well as not throwing their contact lenses in the toilet, not flushing them down the drain. I had no idea that this was a problem until we got together as the Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society Hundreds of researchers and scientists came together in one room last year in Taormina, Italy, to share the reports and come together and learn from each other. And this was actually a huge topic of discussion, was flushing contact lenses down the toilets and what that's doing to the water systems and clogging plumbing and pipes and drainage systems in communities. So just to let your patients know not to flush them. And then a part of this review was a systematic review specifically of the association between lifestyle factors and contact lens dropout. And what the review found, that there were two main reasons that patients drop out of contact lenses. The first was lens discomfort, and the second was vision quality. And so they found that correcting even low amounts of astigmatism were important for vision quality. Giving patients a multifocal contact lens for presbyopia correcting versus monovision was a better quality. And also the lens discomfort, looking at the surface of the eye versus just swapping out contact lens after contact lens. Does this patient have an underlying ocular surface disease that needs to be treated that would make their lenses more comfortable? Or do we need to swap to a more a higher water contact lens, or one that's more oxygen permeable? But we need to do more research to specifically examine these lifestyle factors associated with soft contact lens dropout. And in conclusion of the contact lens section, they looked at lifestyle choices that stress successful contact lens wear. Like I was saying, low humidity environments, high pollution. And when these appropriate lifestyle choices are made, contact lenses can enhance their quality of life. So using them when they're outdoors and correcting their vision better and getting into doing sports and recreational activities. But there was a lack of quality evidence that would benefit further exploration. And these were looking at patients with upper respiratory infections. Do we need to tell our patients to stop wearing contact lenses? Right now, the guidance is to say, don't wear your contact lenses when you're unwell, but there isn't a ton of evidence to back that up. What about the impact of the ocular surface diseases, as I was just saying, on contact lens success, and then the impact of various environmental factors and contact lens performance based on contact lens materials and modalities. These are the companies that supported the TFOS workshop on a global level. We were so thrilled to have these companies support us and provide funding to have the research done. And I want to thank OOLS for allowing me to come today, share this with you. The Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society is a nonprofit. We are so thrilled to be able to share the information from this report with clinicians who can take them back to their own clinics and help their patients. Let's go to the last slide. And I just want to give you a few ways that, one more slide, that you can reach me if you'd like to reach out with questions. There's my website, my email address, my Facebook and Instagram is at Dry Eye Relief Doctors, and LinkedIn, you can reach me at Pam Theriot. Also, again, if you did not download the worksheet or the workbook for this webinar, you certainly can still do that. I see that I'm being joined here. Thank you so much for having me. I was so thrilled to talk to everyone. I truly want to connect with you guys after this webinar. Please reach out, ask me questions, and perhaps we have a few to answer right now.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Pam, for taking us through that. I would say couple of 100 pages you compiled for us and gave us the most important information which we need to as clinicians. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
One of the questions which came in earlier when you were talking about cosmetics, right? So I'm just going to read that question out for you. So it said that what are your recommendations in terms of cosmetics? Do you have a favorite product which you kind of tell your patients if they want to use? Because you did mention that a lot of the products have these chemicals which we do not want them to use. So do you want to kind of let us know, is
Yes.
there any
Yes. So
personal
there
care?
are yeah, there are a couple of them that are available here in the United States. I don't know how readily they are available in other parts of the world. The first that comes to mind are Eyes Are the Story. That is formulated with the eyes in mind. It's free of toxic chemicals. They have a wonderful mascara, eyeliner, face wash, eyelid cleansing wipes. My other favorite is 2020 Beauty. That was created by an ophthalmologist here in the US, and she has mascara, eyeshadow pencils, or crayons. I love those because you don't have to worry about the powdered shadow falling into your tear film. And so I'd love those crayons to use for our dry eye patients. And then there's another company called Beauty Counter that really tries to eliminate tons of toxins in theirs. The final one that comes to mind is Oculaire, Oculaire. Oculaire is facial cleansing moisturizers. They have some under eye creams. One more that just came to mind, We Love Eyes. She has some products to take care of the lashes, some brushes and cleansers to support your patients who don't want to give up their eyelash extensions. And she said, if you can't beat them, join them. What can we provide to our patients who refuse to give up their lash extensions? So at least they're not getting blepharitis from their lashes. And so she has brushes and cleansers for those.
Great. So I think the whole point is there are products which are available in the market. I think it's good to know which are going to suit the patient, but also it's important to know, as you told us, the list, and the list is, I'm sure it's more longer, as you mentioned, it's in the report, to know that which is not suitable for the patient, so that we'll be able to provide to them at least some guidance on what cosmetic products should they be using, because they are using cosmetic products. We can't stop them from using that, right?
Right. They'll just stop coming to you if you tell them not to do it. They'll be like, okay, I'll find somebody who doesn't tell me that. Right. And so I do love that website, EWG, environmentalworkinggroup.org, and that you could access and type in specific ingredients from a list of ingredients of a product that you love, or you could put in the name of the product itself and see the toxic components of it.
Okay, great. Just going to the next question here. I put it on the screen as well. Would this new lifestyle report influence or change the way we make our diagnosis, what we have been learning from the 2017 report? Has there been any amendments done in the way of diagnosing it?
No. So the lifestyle report looked at specifically ocular surface diseases, not dry eye disease solely. So there were no new definitions of dry eye disease in the lifestyle report. But as I did share in that digital device section, they did give a definition for digital eye strain, and using that terminology over computer vision syndrome or computer eye strain, or one of those, using the word digital eye strain.
All right, great. So we can keep diagnosing our patients based on the 2017 TFOS DUS2 report, but keeping into mind the digital eye strain, the contact lens, and cosmetics, which is kind of an add-on, supplementary to what we are already doing, right?
Right. And there were actually 8 subcommittees. So they looked at things like medications, elective procedures, environment. They looked at our diet, like what dietary things. So there, like I said, 8 different reports. We could go on and on all day long and talk about them. But I just tried to call out those 3 that were in this lecture.
Most commonly seen in the practice were the 3 which you kind of, put it across, but others are also available. And I guess this is available for free download as well. So people can download the entire report online and, refer to it and make your own understandings about it, right?
Absolutely. The tearfilm.org is the website for the Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society. You can go there to download the report.
Okay, great. One more question is somebody wants to probably understand a little bit more on the effect of reading books on dry eyes. Do you have any thoughts on how does it affect, or is something better in terms of reading compared to just reading books, or the books are the best? What do you want to comment on that?
I think the report that highlighted that the backlighting was a problem. So even if you're on a digital device, changing the backlighting to a white paper, or adjusting how close and how far that you're holding that, it could all have an effect on our eye strain. I think truly what we've known for a while is that a page of a book is actually better than a digital device. It cues more things, to blink more and to take breaks, because you're turning those pages. There's other cues or clues there. As far as book reading is concerned, yes.
Okay, great. So I think that is something which we can always advise patients when we are, counseling and talking to them at the management level. Okay, let's take
Yes.
one more question here, Dr. Pam, is about contact lens and cosmetics. So what's your take on the effect of these cosmetic? Is it more damaging to the ocular surface of the eye or to the contact lens? And how do you think you would kind of want to communicate probably to your patients in that sense?
So I think that is really a great insight, is that we know that contact lenses can cause a problem. We know that eye makeup can cause a problem. What happens when we combine them, right? Then we have double the impact. So wearing contact lenses and our eye shadow falls into the eye. Now it's trapped underneath the contact lens, giving those micro abrasions to the cornea. Then they take that contact lens out, put it in solution, don't rub it, don't rinse it. They just store it for the night, or maybe they didn't even take the contact lens out. So now we have a micro abrasion, a contact lens, bacteria, and an ensuing infection. So yes, all of these just multiply and compile the effects on our eye health. And so, letting your patients know that there is a proper way, that, using a crayon or a cream eyeshadow is better than a powder. Putting the contact lens in first and then applying the makeup is better. Always removing your contact lenses, always removing your makeup at the end of the day, never sleeping in these things, properly cleaning and caring for them. The list can go on and on of how we can counsel our patients to better serve them, to decrease their ocular surface disease and their microbial keratitis risk. So, we just got to keep talking the whole time in the exam room, just educating our patients.
Yeah, right. That's really important. The key word is educating the patients. And just want to end this, the thought. How do you normally educate patients? Do you kind of give them reading materials, or do you provide them with your website links, or what do you think works best for you in terms of educating, or is just like spending more time talking to them? What's your mantra?
Right. Well, I think that there's a variety of things, and it may have to do with your particular patient population, whether they are, in 20 to 30. Well, they might want to see a video. If you giving them a link to a video saying this is how we properly wear and care for our contact lenses would be their best method. If your patient is 65, maybe they want a handheld with a little trifold and they can put it in their purse and come home and open it up. It really depends on the patient. And so having a variety of these things, you can say, here's a handout, but if you scan the code at the bottom of it, you could watch a video, And so the way that we're learning, as our digital environment increases, we have so many more options and ways to reach our patients. Email blasts out to your patients, and after they've left the office, and say, hey, remember I'm your eye doctor, and are you remembering to take your contact lenses out every night? Here's a video on the risks of not taking your contact lenses out. And we can just continue to educate our patients even when they're not in the office, which I think is wonderful.
Wonderful. Great. So I think with that, thank you so much, Dr. Pam, for, sharing all the insights with us about the latest report from the Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society with us today. And thank you for sharing this Sunday morning with us.
Thank you. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. We do have session planned over the next weekend. So till then, take care, be safe, and hope to see you during the next session. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.